Meet Eric and Marissa Casper, local business owners and key members of the Jackson High School Football Booster Club.
One of the things that I'm passionate about is getting the message out, right? I live in Mill Creek. I've been in Mill Creek almost my whole life. And if people don't know that there's a need right here in their back door, they can't meet that need.
In this episode, they share how their team was struggling to afford basic equipment like footballs and shoulder pads. But with the Booster Club's efforts, they're raising the funds to keep the team going and building a sense of community through mentorship and service.
The question becomes, where does the money come from to pay for athletics in school? The income for that comes from the $100 fee to play a sport, provided that a student can afford that.
Right.
And right now, a significant portion cannot. But that minor piece is one little piece of it. The biggest piece of where those monies come from is not tax dollars that are going into the school district. The biggest piece that goes into athletics is...
Watch the full episode to see how they're keeping the spirit of football alive and learn how you can get involved.
Well, hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Mill Creek Live Today podcast. I'm your host, Greg, the Mill Creek guy, Elwin. And once again, we're here at Tapped, our home studio for our Mill Creek Live Today podcast. And once again, this podcast is brought to you by the Greg Elwin Real Estate. Thanks for joining us. We got a special treat today because we had two guests. We usually only have one guest, and I know at least one of them got roped into being here. But it's okay because this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about something really cool today. So say hello to Eric and Marissa Casper. And in addition to being business owners in town, and we can talk a little bit about that, and residents, right?
Yep.
You're also with the Jackson High School Football Booster Club, right?
Yes.
All right. So who wants to tell me about what is the Jackson High School Football Booster Club?
Oh, the Jackson High School Football Booster Club is just a group of parents of the football kids, and basically it is brought together because we're raising funds and supporting the Jackson High School football team. So all of the funds and everything that we do, it just raises the money to support the team, whatever the team might need, whether it's from new footballs to, a pregame or halftime snack that they might need during the game. So all of that encompasses all of that.
And it's probably not orange wedges and squeezy juice either, because, these are big football players.
It's interesting. The coach actually wanted gummy bears for halftime and things. I think there's a science behind what they want.
They're happy to have anything. Yeah, so orange wedges and it does gummy bears. Having something is, it makes the kids excited. So
yeah.
So try and relate this, what the Booster Club does. I coach middle school football for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And each week it was one parent's turn to bring stuff. So this is kind of that concept, but organized and with some people behind it, where it's actually not just, hey, can you make sure you bring water next time?
On the food and snacks, yes.
Yeah.
The Booster Club in it is bigger than just the food, right?
Yeah.
And there's other things that we do that are not necessarily tied to fundraising or spending the money, is trying to instill community service into the players and finding community service opportunities for them and helping facilitate that.
Yeah.
And then also helping to make sure that the coaches have what they need. So we're supporting the coaches, we're supporting the players, and we're supporting the sport and the kids themselves. The costs are tremendous. You don't realize, my kids grew up, we played T-ball and we played Mill Creek Little League. These are all pay to play.
Right.
So they have plenty of money. And not just to say plenty of money, they still fundraise, but those kind of things, Pee Wee football, Little League. But as soon as you get into the high school sports, it's not. There's an athletic fee that students pay if they can afford it. There's a lot of students that can't afford it and they still play. But even with those fees, it's not enough to cover all the equipment that they need, right? And football is the most expensive sport there is. We're not talking about, soccer where you've got uniforms and a ball. Even the uniforms themselves. It's $130 for a jersey in black and $130 for a jersey in white.
Yeah.
It's $260 for the jersey.
Right.
Before you start talking about shoulder pads and helmets and everything else. So a lot of supported.
I want to talk a little bit about that need, and why does that need exist? Because folks will say, well, you're paying your athletic fee. And the school district has an athletic budget, and they pay their coaches, and they have facilities. Why then do we have to have extra money if all of those things are taken care of? But all of those things aren't taken care of, right?
Yeah. So I went to Jackson High School back in 01, like 2000, 01, 02. And things have changed a lot since then. Right? When it comes down to funding for the Everett School District is really where things have gotten a lot tighter. And because growing up, besides paying for the regular fees, never once did I have to fundraise, right? Some of that is from my family, my parents, right? But even at Jackson, I did multiple sports. I did all 3 sports, I think, and didn't have that need. I also work with the wrestling team. And for example, the wrestling coach has been there for 12 years. Matt does a great job. And this is the first time that his needs are not being met from the school district or his budget that he's been able to get from them. Meaning, and wrestling is a lot more affordable than football, right? They've got tournament fees. They've got, even if you want a new singlet $60 or something. A lot less than a football team. So where the football team was at, I would say, when we got involved last year, about this time, we didn't even have enough money to buy new footballs for the varsity team, and you need a new game ball for each game.
Sure.
So the need is tremendous, and over the years, it's just kind of piled on with the bunch of different reasons. It's probably a better question for the district to figure out what exactly we are at, but I know that it's becoming more prevalent in the community. One of the things that I'm passionate about is getting the message out, right? I live in Mill Creek. I've been in Mill Creek almost my whole life, and if people don't know that there's a need right here in their back door, they can't meet that need.
Right.
And I've just seen it grow and grow, and
To the need and where does it come from? I think and I don't want to speak for Everett School District, but if I had to guess.
And let me stop just really quick, because I don't think any of us want to be critical of the school district, but we also do understand that budgets are limited and there's only so much money that can go around. So we have to find some sort of organic means, some sort of grassroots means to help offset what we're missing.
The question becomes, where does the money come from to pay for athletics in school, right? And the income for that comes from the $100 fee to play a sport, provided that a student can afford that.
Correct.
And right now, a significant portion cannot. But that minor piece is one little piece of it. The biggest piece of where those monies come from is not tax dollars that are going into the school district. The biggest piece that goes into athletics is entry fees.
Right.
So when you go to a high school basketball game, you pay $7, $5 if you're a senior. When you go to a high school wrestling tournament, you pay $7. If you go to a high school football game, you pay $7. Those entry fees of all of the people coming to watch the sports, all of that money goes right into athletics, straight in. And that's what helps afford, the athletic departments that have to try and afford everything with that money.
Yeah.
There are tax dollars. I would assume that if you go back in time, the entry fees here weren't covering all of the fees they need for athletics, but that there was extra money in tax dollars from the district.
Exactly.
But over time, as that's gotten tighter and tighter, and the fact that, I guess I'll say this, I love Mill Creek, right? I love the community. The thing that I would tell people in Mill Creek is we have a high school right here, right? It's in our backyard, literally, yes, right? And a lot of us would, we go to Seattle to go to a concert. We go to Everett to go to motocross, right? To these different events that we go see. We have season ticket holders for the Seahawks. We have season ticket holders for the Huskies. We have all kinds of people that are interested in whether it's basketball or any of these different sports, football, but they're not coming to watch the local high school.
Yeah.
And when you look at the mentality of, and I use Texas as an example because we all know Texas loves football.
Right.
But a high school football game in Texas, if Mill Creek were in Texas, Main Street would be shut down on Friday night.
Right.
Right? And Tapped, where we're at right now, taps would be closed until after the game.
Yeah,
Right?
you packed
It'd be
out.
closed, and then after the game, it'd be filled up. Like that's a mentality. But all those people are going to the game, and those entry fees help support the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just don't have that. And that's where I think a lot of the need for fundraising comes. We probably wouldn't have to raise as much funds if we could get people to come out.
Sure.
And so my message to people is come to a game. It costs $7.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun.
It is so much fun, and I miss those. And every time I drive by, a high school stadium and the lights are on, it's like, oh, let's just at least stop by for a little bit because we don't know anybody, but that's okay. We're watching passionate players play a sport that they love. And, I mean, that's just at its essence. That's what it's all about at high school athletics, that passion to want to play. So the school districts, and again, this is Everett and every other school district around the state, they will provide what's minimally required in order to be able to do the sport. They'll make sure that they're minimal and taken care of. And drew a comparison between the wrestling team and the football team. Well, there's a varsity, junior varsity, and C team on football. There's something similar in the wrestling world, but the numbers are vastly different, right? That varsity, junior varsity, and C team football, there's a heck of a lot more football players than wrestlers. At least that's my understanding. And each one of those requires a heck of a lot more equipment to support there, and a heck of a lot more infrastructure for them to be able to compete, play the games. And it's funny you mentioned that wrestling coach's name is Matt.
Yeah.
Everybody's giving him a hard time about that. Name Matt, the wrestling coach.
Oh.
Because they have a mat.
Yeah, totally.
But that's what they have. They have a mat in the gymnasium, but the gymnasium exists on a multi-purpose level.
Yeah.
Football stadiums they're more expensive, right? They're bigger structures, so there requires this. So the school district will provide what's minimally necessary in order to do the sport. As an example, we had at the Chamber of Commerce this great opportunity to make a donation so the football team could buy shoulder pads. The football team had shoulder pads, but tell me about the shoulder pads they had.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a great illustration.
Yeah.
James Murphy auctions, I don't know if you know those, but they used to be in Kenmore. My dad used to take me down there on Saturdays because my dad used to just go to the auction.
Sure.
And then as a grown-up, I'm always looking at auctions. Don't need any of it, and sometimes I buy it and don't need it, but it's ingrained in me from my father. I was looking at online auctions a year or two ago, and I would see colleges offloading their shoulder pads. And they would say things like use 1 season or use 3 seasons or something, but they're good shoulder pads, and they're just offloading all of them because they have the money to get new shoulder pads. And I made a mental note of that for some reason, right? And then as we got super involved in Jackson High School and in booster clubs, I started understanding the need for equipment and where we at with everything, and there's still a lot of equipment that we need. But the number one thing that the coaches were saying at that time, a little while ago, was we need more shoulder pads. Like our shoulder pads are old and they're falling apart, and we're like duct taping them on. Like we need more shoulder pads. That was the number one problem and request.
Yeah.
And so it was, when we started talking to the chamber, it was like we could really use a donation to help us, get closer to getting shoulder pads was really the goal.
Yeah.
And the thought was we'd do a lot more fundraising and somehow we'd be able to buy some shoulder pads. And so we took that donation and it came in and we were very thankful, and then we just sat and waited. And I'm constantly looking at auctions. And Colorado State University was offloading their shoulder pads. And we got 70 shoulder pads for basically the amount of donation that we got, plus a little that we raised. But for the most part, it was all the chamber money that got those. So it was a good deal. I'll say it that way. Like we got a really good deal on those shoulder pads.
Yeah.
They would have been $40,000 worth of shoulder pads, and we got them for way, way, way less.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it takes a little bit of the time and the ingenuity but also getting the donation to help us fill the need.
So that takes me back to the point that the school district will provide what's minimally required. So what in this instance, in this example, they had shoulder pads. Yeah, we got to duct tape this here together, and we got to steal off of this to put on this one, and we'll make it work. We'll do the best we can to make it work. But really, what they were making work was stuff that was junk already, right? It was minimally capable of performing the function, but if it wasn't, you weren't going to get the financial support from the school district to replace those for $40,000.
No, they have to make choices on where to spend their money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the Booster Club is from generous donations from folks who want to support,
Yes.
and the ingenuity and creativity of folks like you that are that Booster Club. We're able, we can create the solution on this.
Yeah.
And now those kids, and this is just one small example, but those kids and those shoulder pads and those players, they're set up for the next couple of years, right? That's something the
Yes.
coaches don't need to worry about now.
Yep.
And now we can focus on developing our players, whatever it is we need to do. I know from being a coach, and you agonize at the end of practice or when it's your off day about, man, all the different things that nobody sees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody sees what's going on in shoulder pads or jerseys. All they see are the players on the field on TV. There's so much more to it in the foundation. So that's what you guys are working. So how can this community help? What can we...
Yeah, I would say that minimally, if you're living within, 10, 15 miles, come to a game. Come to a football game. They're really fun. Homecoming's in October. We also got senior night, and I think that's actually November 1st. Really fun games. That's the minimum, right? The other thing is just being involved, understanding that there is a need if you're a business owner, connecting with the school, figuring out how you can help, right? Maybe you're passionate about baseball. Maybe you're passionate about soccer, right? Those organizations need some help too, not just football.
Sure.
That would be my ask.
Mine is very similar. I think a lot of the parents get involved because we have our players, right? If there's somebody that said, I want to volunteer my time, right? I can't afford to give money, but I have time. Mm-hmm. Booster clubs always need somebody to help. Right?
Yeah, you bet.
So anybody that said, I have time, we'll find a way to use that for sure.
Let me ask you about that really quick, Gary. I mean, on game days, I got to imagine, on game days, right? That's when you need your volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What are you guys doing on game days where you need people to come help out?
This last week, we had people selling programs. So we had programs this year. We had 2 people selling programs that were volunteers. We set up a barbecue to try and raise funds. And so we're doing a barbecue at the football game. We probably had 6 volunteers doing that. We have chain gang. So we always have to have, if it's a home game, we have to support the field with chain gang. So we've got 3 people doing chain gang. We've got another volunteer filming the game. So coaches have game film to go back and watch. Mm-hmm. Then in the case of Jackson, we've got our giant inflatable wolf tunnel.
Oh, right.
That the kids run out of, right? And that's so great, but it's also a lot of work. And It takes 2-3 of us to set it up before the game and then take it down. We just deflate it and pull it off to the side. And at halftime, we go out and fold it back up and put it back away. All in all, and I'm probably missing a couple of volunteers in this too, but I bet there's 15 people that are tasked with different things throughout a game day. To make there's the snacks. We had 2 people putting together all the snacks for the players for halftime and for after the game to just replenish them and give them something to have. So there's a lot of things on game day for sure.
So folks that maybe just want to volunteer on game day, I just want to come down and just be there, help out, go me wherever you need to go me. I don't want to join the Booster Club next year. I don't want to come to meetings, but heck yeah, I'll come down on Friday nights.
Definitely. Just get in touch with us, right? Because there's parents like us who are super involved. Our kid that's playing, he's a senior. We want to watch the game, right? So we're securing wherever we can, getting the logistics covered for the game day so we can actually watch it. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody can go to our website. It's timberwolvesfootball.com.
Okay.
Timberwolvesfootball.com. It has our schedule. It has how to reach out to us and contact us. It has rosters. It has all the information about Jackson High School football.
And that's the Booster Club's website?
That's the Booster Club's website.
Okay.
Yep. And it's got tons of information and tons of tabs to look through.
Things in there about how to help, how to donate, how to
donate, and how to reach out and contact us. But whether it's financial donations or is kind of an obvious always, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's somebody that says, I know somebody. right? And for me, as president of the Football Booster Club, I feel like my obligation is when somebody says, I know somebody that might be able to help you.
Yeah.
You know, I go, okay.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Yep. Tell me who I need to go talk to, right?
Yep.
And I'm there to talk to them. So even if somebody hears the message and goes, you know, there's somebody that I know that you should really talk to, that they might be able to help with that program in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. I'm right on board.
Yeah. Speaking of the program, I saw a copy of it before we started here today. Fantastic. It's beautiful. But it's throughout that program, you've got sponsors with advertising in there. And so businesses have the opportunity to buy into that advertising, buy into that program to get their advertising in there, right? You guys do anything also at the stadium, with advertising at the stadium on game days?
Yes, for certain sponsor levels, we have banners up. So everyone in the stands, all of our home games get to see exactly who's sponsoring us. And for platinum sponsors, they can actually set up a tent in our sponsor zone. And so we had about 5 there, which was awesome. Yeah, it was super fun. They got a lot of traction, which was great. You know, a way to engage the community and some of your target audience, right? We had like defensive driving was there. They brought their car, and yeah, just a way to get the word out. Support the businesses that are supporting us. It's what we the community.
Well,
yeah.
And that's going back to what this program is all about, right? Is that what's going on in our community? What are the cool things that we're doing? Who are the cool people that are doing them? And how can people help us get involved?
Yep.
And so businesses have an opportunity to advertise, get their logo on a program or on a banner or on a tent. But I know the people that you're talking about that do those kinds of things, and it's not just about business for them, right? It really is about, here's an opportunity for me to do something cool to help out. And you getting the word out and being involved in the community and engaging with people really is spread right over.
Yep.
And that's why I want to have you guys here, because there's a lot of people that just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And there's another piece that I want to bring up too of how people can help.
Yeah.
Between the Booster Club and all of us parents and the coaching staff, we've agreed that we want to instill in these football players and these young men that community service. And part of the Booster Club's role, because coaches are teachers or coaches and they're doing their thing with the players, like that's their job. Our job is to raise money, but also to try and find, in this case, avenues where we can do community service. The interesting thing that we found when we had this goal is we want to do community service. We want to get the boys out and do as much community service as we can. When we find opportunities, we go, hey, can we help you? Yes. Oh, I'll take 3 or 4. That'd be great. And it's like, well, we got 80.
Right.
And it's been hard. We wanted originally to have like opportunities for all the players to do something together, right? As a community service. Mm-hmm. And when we had that original first goal, and that kind of got pushed aside because we realized it was unrealistic. Mm-hmm. And now it turned into lots of little community service opportunities. And the boys have gone out and done things from helping the chamber with setting up chairs or tearing down chairs, to blood drives, to the Mill Creek Festival and helping set up and tear down the Mill Creek Festival. I'm forgetting a whole bunch of them. There was another
Cleanup.
You put almost a whole team out on cleanup.
That's what I was about to get to. So we've had these different opportunities. The chamber, the golf tournament, we're out there helping.
Yeah, that was fun.
Tournament.
Yeah, it was great.
So all these different, somebody says, well, boy, I wish, we're doing something good, right?
Yeah.
And we need more help. We're doing something good. Well, that's great. We have lots of people that want to help.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is I met Jeff Lawrence, right? And Jeff has J&L Remodeling and he has J&L Cares. And so he and I are talking, and he has a player on the football team. And as we're talking about it, I was explaining this community service thing, and he and I get it because of the nonprofit and because of all the charity community service work he does. And I said, I just can't find a way to get all the players to do something, right? And it was amazing. He's like, I got this. I'm like, you can't do this. What are you doing, Jeff?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we're going to clean up all of Mill Creek. And I'll deal with the city, and we'll deal with the permits, and we'll deal with all that stuff. You just get the players and parents, and like, we're going to do this. And it was okay. And sure enough, like the J&L side took care of getting permits and talking to the city and getting all of that stuff cleared with everybody. And we had 80 ish players, parents, grandparents, just people from the community, coaches, J&L people, and they all came out. And in a Saturday from between 9 in the morning and 11 or 12 to noon-ish somewhere, we cleaned up all of Bothell Everett Highway, all through the town center, all everywhere, and just filled an entire trailer full of trash. And it was great because it was the whole team. Yeah. So I've been really thankful to Jeff for helping take a vision that we all had that I couldn't piece together, and he pieced it together.
Get that last piece to make it all come together.
Yeah. But to your point of how can people help, if there's a need somewhere for an opportunity for players to do something and help in the community, we're always looking for that.
Sports is so much more than just sports, right? And football is the ultimate team sport. It's the ultimate team sport. And man, and your coaches are teachers, your coaches are mentors, and you folks in the Booster Club are mentors and teachers. And what you're doing with these kids is not just teaching them, here's how you play football. You're teaching them about life. You're giving them opportunities to be involved with something that maybe they wouldn't otherwise be involved with, right? How many of those players wouldn't have taken it upon themselves to participate in, let's go clean up a street event? Maybe, maybe not. Some of them certainly would, but many of them wouldn't. And so you're giving them this opportunity, and I gotta imagine that the rewards they got from that at the end of the day were huge. I know just from some of the times I interact with the players at the different chamber events, the golf tournament and the festival, they're just that. I mean, first of all, they work for adulthood, right? They work for
energy drinks.
And they're super stoked about being able to be out and do something cool with their friends, with their buddies, and then helping out. But they don't see it as a chore. They see it as, this is a cool opportunity. And help them build the character of those football players for the rest of their life.
Yeah. I had multiple of them, different ages, at both the cleanup as well as the golf tournament say, I'm having a lot of fun. This is really fun. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
And just them connecting that I can still have fun while giving back is something that not every high school student learns that lesson. So they are having fun out there too.
Yeah, they all have fun, and they're learning about themselves, and they're learning about their friends, and learning about the community, and they're developing these skills and that will last for a lifetime. I mean, it's incredible, and so. They deserve our support. All of these high school athletes deserve our support. All of our high school students, the kids are our future. Everyone we're talking about here, your son and my children and everybody else, that's our future. And it's up to us to set them up for success. So when it's their turn to be in our roles, that they can take it and lock it. And it's because of folks like you that make that kind of stuff happen. And it's impressive. I love it. They need your help, and so this is we'll be talking live like the end of September, early October. Last week, first week, kind of. You guys will be right in the thick about football season, and so when people see this is when we want them to come down on Friday night to Memorial Stadium to watch a game. Do you guys offer any kind of ticket packages, like season tickets or anything like that?
I don't think they're doing that. They did move to online, so you can at least not wait in the line.
Good.
So that is on our website, the link to that, so you can buy your ticket ahead of time, and then you just get there and show it's just a faster process of getting in.
Anybody who's not been to a high school football game has to go to a high school football game. And if you have been, you need to go again. And if you can't, buy a ticket anyway. Right? Buy a ticket anyway.
Yeah.
Go on, buy a ticket. I can't be there, but I'll be there in spirit, and my $7 will help just in.
Yep.
There's lots of ways.
If someone doesn't know where Everett Memorial Stadium is, that's where we play our home games. Our home games are not played at Jackson High School right in Mill Creek because we don't have this grandstands and the parking to be able to support that. So the games are at Everett Memorial Stadium right off Broadway. Right, everybody kind of knows where the Aquasox Stadium is. Yep. It's hidden behind the Aquasox Stadium. Is a great big football stadium right there.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that because we don't play our games here at Jackson High School. But that's not unique. There's lots of schools that, I went to Timberline High School in Lacey, and we had a practice field, and we played all of ours at a stadium that was shared by 3 schools. So that's pretty normal in those days. It'd be nice. It's in Texas. In Texas, every high school's got their own football stadium.
They got their own stadium.
It'd be nice if it's around here. But you know what? Let's focus on getting them all the stuff they need.
Yeah.
And if we can ever build more stadiums.
Yep, definitely.
Well, what did I miss? What are the things that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, the one thing that I would want to talk about quickly is we have a program that we execute with the Jackson High School football program, which is called Wolves and Pups, and it's actually a mentorship program that the high school boys, student athletes of football, do with the Junior Timberwolves football program. Okay. And so it really starts off with camp. The Jackson football puts on a little kids camp. Mm-hmm. But the Wolves and Pups program pairs them with a high school player, and they connect. They have some conversation, mentorship. Sometimes they kind of play the same position, that type of thing. Yeah. But really, there's opportunities throughout the season for them to connect. So the Junior Timberwolves are having a big Timberwolf Day at the Everett Memorial Stadium on the 21st. So all the mentors will go watch their kid play that they're paired up with and cheer them on, and also just provide, questions or, get them involved with Jackson football. And there's other opportunities through that we provide to connect. But really, that's one of the really exciting things that the kids get to do. It teaches some leadership skills as well as just community in the program. And we've got coaches that have their little kids in the program. And so it's all just a big family, what we call the pack, right? The wolf pack.
Right.
And so that's one of the really great things that the student athletes do on the football.
That is really cool. So, again, more life lessons.
Yes.
Helping create these well-rounded young athletes that are future.
Yep.
How old are the Junior Timberwolves?
I don't know how they youngest. I want to say
They're 5. I believe it's 5 is the bottom. It's 5 to 14.
Okay,
I believe.
All right. Yeah, very similar to a lot of other programs that are replacing middle school football because that doesn't exist better. So I didn't get on that. And that's incredible. Mm-hmm. How fun. And so that's, by the time this airs, that will have been done.
Yep.
So it was awesome.
Yeah, it was the best. It's the best one we've had yet.
Yeah.
So
Cool. The thing I didn't get to say or haven't said that I wanted to address was there's some people that aren't fans of football, right? Let's just they don't feel like it's the sport that they're in love with.
Yep. I don't know what's wrong with those folks.
I don't either. I mean, I'm football through, and I don't get it. But they look at it as okay. So those are the blockheads or the football team. Like why that and why? Well, you're a football dad, so that's why you're passionate about that. And it's not just them, right? So one of the things that I tell people and try and explain to people is, in high school sports, there are cut sports and non-cut sports, okay? And baseball, softball, bowling, golf. There are so many sports that are cut sports. And
I know what you mean, but just explain that. What's a cut sport?
Yeah, so a cut sport, you have to try out, right? And there's only 21 spots on the team. And the coaches pick the 21 players. And if you didn't make the cut, you're not playing, right? And as a result of that, and it's one of the things that I want to point out to people, is there are cut sports and non-cut. When you're a cut sport, you have the ability to control your costs, right? You have 21 players. You need one school bus to get them to and from games, right? You need 21, whatever it is, in your equipment, your soccer balls, your whatever. These different things are very controlled. When you have that controlled cost over a longevity of time, you can work with the district or work with everybody, understand how much money you need and kind of take in a budget, and then you can work with your own booster club, and it becomes easy to manage because I know what my costs are.
Yeah.
The non-cut sports have a whole nother element to them, right? Because you do not send a kid that wants to play away, right? And the beauty of that is that there are kids that might not be the best baseball player, right? But they can come play football, and we'll find a spot for them, right? And we want them to come play, please, right? And it gives them something to do after school, and they're not doing nothing. So non-cut sports are important, but at the same time, they come with this double-edged sword because your non-cut sports are like cross country. Cross country doesn't have a lot of costs, right? But their biggest cost is busing. And Jackson has one of the largest cross-country teams around.
I know, that runs right in my neighborhood.
They're
huge.
It's very, very
And
large.
I can tell you
which is
what I know
great.
about them is their booster club has to continue to try and raise funds to support, but the district has to support the fact that they need more and more buses to move that cross-country team around. In our case with football, it's kind of a double-edged sword because we need more players. We want more players. We need them. But then the other problem is, well, if you get them, now we need the equipment for them, right?
Gear them up and transport them.
And when you look at the different non-cut sports, cross-country, football, boys and girls wrestling, track, right? And you look at the equipment costs of those. They all have the same problem in busing. The bigger the squad gets, the more I got to pay to move them around. But where the cut sports don't have that, but the equipment costs, right? Cross-country, track, wrestling, those costs are nowhere near football. Absolutely. And so for me, the thing that I tell somebody that says, I just wish it wasn't football. I'm not really a football person. My answer is how do you feel about young men having something to do after school, right? Regardless of their talent, where they get to be part of a team, experience winning, losing, working hard, right? Growing and developing. And that's what you need in your community, right? You need to support that in your community. And that's why football is important. And on top of that, we have such tremendous equipment costs. So football's a non-cut sport.
I think that's an incredible point that you make, because this is an opportunity for a student athlete who may not have the skills to excel at a different sport, but is welcome here. Welcome. Let's get you in here, and we got a place for it. And it just happens to be its most expensive place, right? With the most demands on it, but we got a place for it. So it's a passionate and important point that you made. And another reason that we just got to support what y'all are doing. You're right. That student athlete could not be doing this. Could be going home and not doing anything, not learning about life, not learning about team, not having opportunities to interact and mentor, give back to the community and all those other things that make it well rounded. I love that one. I appreciate it. Cool. Well, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
Marissa,
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank
And
you.
appreciate you volunteering to come today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we can go to, say the website again, because I'll butcher it.
www.timberwolvesfootball.com.
Thanks for being here. And thanks everybody for watching this episode. Mill Creek Live today and the Jackson High School Football Boosters. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Peace. Eddie, see ya.